Show. Oh my goodness gracious, it is gorgeous out here. Happy Thursday to you. Hope you're having a great start to your day. If you're new to the show, again, I'm your host, and the show is all about the things that you need more in the world. Again, when we talk about news you can use, if I say something that feels like it's lending itself to more of the sad or sorrow or negative side, it is because as a community, I'm asking change those things. Okay. So if you are new to the show or someone turns you on, and I'm not saying that I want you to be void of what's going on in the world. I want us to know. In fact, one of the stories that we have coming up nationally out of Pennsylvania breaks my heart, and it makes me come back and say, all right, folks, we got to do better, right? The world, we got to do better. A lot of you, I'm going to ask you at the beginning of the show, what can you do? Because again, one woman can make all the difference in the world. Do you believe that? Do you believe that you can change the world? I do. I have that much faith in you. How's your day starting? Again, been outside. I highly recommend you do so. If you're not in St. Louis, Missouri, across the river in Southern Illinois, let me know where you're watching from. I love to see how far our reach is. Sean and Kathy, Gabriel, good morning. All just we're going to give you the full. It is amazing outside. You can get this part of it just feels. I don't feel that stickiness and the humidity we have had. So again, exercising would be a really good thing to do for you right now. Go for a nice walk. Take the dogs out. I'm going to do that in just a little bit. I got a client here at 8:30, and then it's doggy time. Before we do a feature on Disney on Ice, we are going to do a fitness duo that I'm going to put in tomorrow morning show. They're going to tell us what they do to get ready for the show. You think about all those lifts. You'd think it's probably all leg based because of the skating, but I bet there's a lot of core. So I'm excited to sit down and also a fitness demo. So we'll show you that in tomorrow's show. And our Foodie Friday tomorrow is going to be a special one. It's with my sister-in-law. We're going to get you ready for Oktoberfest. Yes. If you've been to an Oktoberfest event already, let me know where you went. I went to one in Imperial put on by the German Historical Society that was really cool a couple of weeks ago. And there are many that are coming up. St. Charles is one of the biggest ones. That's still to come. But let me know if you enjoy Oktoberfest. If so, kind of food do you like? Big beer? Have you ever been to Germany for Oktoberfest? My sister-in-law and I are going to get you ready for it as we make schnitzel in the Slyman Brothers kitchen. So that's on tap for you tomorrow. Today, a very powerful show as we sit down and talk with a dear friend of mine that I worked with at Channel 5, Hanna Yates. We're going to visit in with her when she left Channel 5. Where did she go? Carolina Hurricanes. That was her dream job, but it's what she just recently did during the summer that I'm going to sit down and talk with her about today. So that's coming up. Good morning. Again, feel free to sign on, make any comments about how Hanna impacts you, the work that she does, anything you want to comment on with regards to news, just anything. Throw it out there and let's talk as a community. All right, weather-wise, here's what's on tap for you today. 93. So as I mentioned, it's really pretty right now. We've got some spot rain expected to the west, 93 degrees. Tomorrow, 30% chance of rain, 87 for the high. Saturday, 87. We've got the balloon race on tap for Saturday, by the way. This weekend should be nice for it. Slight rain again. Hopefully it doesn't change things with the wind, etc. Sunday and then into next week for the first couple of days at least, a little more chance of rain, 40% chance, 85 for the high, 84 on Monday and Tuesday, and then pretty much in the low 80s. Looks really beautiful next week. Fall, by the way, starting officially on Monday. So looking good for you this morning. All right, let's get started again in some news you can use. So a lot of you are just getting a chance to sign on. Tell your family and friends we're on for you. So this particular local story, for all of you that travel, you're probably going to say this doesn't surprise you. Lambert St. Louis Airport is ranking low, and I mean really low, on the J.D. Power Airport Satisfaction Study. So it's at the bottom of the latest. Out of 27 airports, Lambert came in third to last. Kansas City's airport ranked fourth. Highest. The study found airports that incorporate local food and brands did better, along with airports that were recently renovated. Plans are underway to renovate Lambert International Airport while consolidating it in. And officials estimate the project will take years to complete. So again, Lambert coming in third to last in this. That is wanting to around, but pretty frustrated. Another story that I really want you to pay attention to with many, according to for additional victims in a case against a St. Louis doctor. The U.S. Attorney is searching for potential victims in a case. Says they charged physician David Parks, a clinical manager and clinical research coordinator James Zerback, and front desk assistant Michelle Shear with crimes related to the clinic they worked at, which is at 3960 Lindell Boulevard. The indictment, alleges that between July 6th of 2016 and December 31st of 2021, the trio knowingly and intentionally substances outside of the usual course of professional practice and for medical purpose. I'm going to pause there for a second. I just picked up my phone and told by Gabriel, hold on one second, let me read this. The audio and stuttering, interesting. The video is fuzzy. I believe that your camera, it's getting worse. Your second camera cut out for a second. Okay, interesting. Is that what you're all seeing? Oh, they're saying, where are you? Okay. I tell you what, let me take a break then. Didn't know that because on my end it looks crystal clear. Let me take a break and let's see if we can come back to you. I'm hoping we're not having that problem like we had before. Definitely want this beautiful show that we have on tap for you to be hearing. So let me take a break and come back to you. By the end of this, I want 100% raising your hands. I'm here to empower you because you all have intrinsic value. I don't care if someone has told you that you don't. Today, we are here to make you believe in yourself.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bonacorsi, and I'm the president and founder of J Bloom. And I chose Monica Adams to be our keynote speaker because of the positivity that she illuminates whenever she speaks. She's an amazing influence and has so much impact on these women that they are going to leave changed.
It's a constant education. Never stop being the leader. If you are given the opportunity to be, and I hate the word boss, by the way, don't we like leader more? Have you all seen that image of a boss shouting behind their team and then the leader out in the trenches? And I know there's a lot of people that are thrown into your paths, and there are people who try to squash your dreams. It could be your partner, it could be your parents, your children, a boss that you've had, but you cannot, from this day forward, I'm going to ask you to not give them power any longer. So we think it, we write it, we hear it. Think right here. Make connections today. Then pave that way. You now have the awareness. So how do you pave that path?
Your message, like at the end, you be anything but before that, be kind.
Yep.
My husband's a pastor, and that every one of his sermons, that's always within it. That be kind.
Yep.
You have to be kind.
It is.
Oh, you're fine.
Look at this. So there's an employee out there who still thinks of you because you were kind to them. Never stop being that leader. By the way, I want to be remembered for this phrase when I'm no longer on this earth. The greatest rewards in life come from the most uncomfortable walk. God meant for me to talk to you. Oh, it's okay. You, honey, have a lot of value. And someone's told you that you don't. And I was meant to be in your life today. I've always said, I have chills. Do we all have chills? God, I say, if you can have me change one person's life, then I have done your job. I'm hoping it's all of you. But see, she's not okay for whatever reason. I don't know your story, but I'm going to tell you they're wrong. And all these women believe in you.
To hire Monica Adams for your next event, email info@therealmonicaadams.com.
Having some audio and video issues. I'm going to look over here at my phone before we continue on. This is interesting. I might just go straight into our video and hope that you all can hear it, because we taped this, and just bypass the news altogether and try to come back to you on the end. Yeah, evidently there's a camera issue. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna try to just play this for you directly. Not sure what's going on in the world again. Very frustrating. Okay, let's just try to play this for you. Well, welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thrilled to have you along with us. You know, in the last 2.5 years, I've talked about a lot of people that I met in the business of television and radio over the last 3 decades. Some people that I'm still close with, some people that really touched my heart, and some people that I thought were just ridiculously talented. Well, guess what? This next guest hit me on all those levels. A dear friend of mine that I met during my days at KSDK, and maybe you'll recognize her. I hope you had a chance to watch her when she was with us. KSDK Channel 5 Sports. All right, let's bring her on. Hanna Yates, how are you, my friend?
I am doing so well, Monica. It is a gift to hear your voice and catch up with you. I know we've kept in touch from afar, but I'm super grateful for you having me today. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, of course. You know, it really is true. We got a chance. So obviously during the time I was at Channel 5, it was during the pandemic and we all were moving around. And then I got moved into the sports office, which I love because that's where I did my internship forever ago. And I'm like, oh, I'm back in the sports office. So sometimes Hanna would come in and I'm like, oh, yay, I've got somebody in my office. I'm not in my little cubicle all by myself. And that's where we really got a chance to talk because our hours weren't necessarily the same, but you would come in, you'd have some early reports. What were all the years that you were at Channel 5?
Gosh, well, I was there. I'm trying to think. I probably went there by 2018 or 2019. One of those would have been my first years. I know it's kind of a blur at this point, but I was there for about 2.5 years at that point. Before making it out to Carolina. So I do remember all those memories that you just suggested. I forgot you had gotten moving into the sports department. And I remember your desk was right across from mine. I was like, oh, I'm so excited. Monica's going to be sitting in here and I get to know her. And I had always admired you and your work from afar. So it was such a gift.
And I'm so glad that, so I actually was watching Hanna when I was at the Fox affiliate here in St. Louis. And then I got over and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to meet her because I just think she's crazy talented, which I think I told you from day one. I was like, your work is phenomenal. And then it was funny because when you left, I think you left some boots or something there. And I'm like, hey, your boots are still here.
I left far too many clothing items at that station. It was basically just my public donation to everyone as I left, between the dresses and everything I left there. I remember I had kept those boots out just in case I ever needed them, I guess, under the desk. And I was like, I think it might cost more just to ship those.
I think that's what you said. Give them to somebody else. They're going to need them at some point. They'll come in handy. Again, if you're just tuning in, you see Hanna Yates, FanDuel Sports Network host reporter. So we'll get into that in just a second, but I got to go back to this cute picture, and we're trying to figure out just how old she might be in this picture because I always love to know when we were all bit by the bug of broadcasting. So this is a young Hanna. You don't know how old you are here?
Gosh, I based on the braces in this picture, I assume it had to be 3rd or 4th grade because that's when I had my braces. And so I assume that's when it was. And obviously, that's my younger brother, Logan there. We were big Cardinals, Pujols, everything fan. Everything St. Louis sports I grew up loving. And my dad took the picture. We had the chance to go behind the scenes and we had our ball. And it was just a great memory for me.
That's huge. So let's go back. So where did you grow up? Where did you go to school?
Yeah, so I grew up in St. Louis. I'm actually from Oakville, for people who are familiar with the St. Louis area that are listening. And it was a gift growing up there. I loved it. It kind of gave you more of a small town feel to St. Louis, kind of living out a bit further. It was super peaceful out there. And so I was born and raised there and grew up in St. Louis. And I went to school at the University of Missouri to study journalism and got a degree in broadcast television before coming back to St. Louis, which I never thought I would have the gift to actually work in St. Louis. That was a huge blessing as well. So St. Louis was my entire life. Sports was what I grew up doing with my family and loving and watching and playing. And then to get to cover it, it was just the greatest blessing.
So MIZ.
Yep, ZOU. I was actually just there, Monica, this past week.
What an incredible game.
Yes.
That was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. My dad and I, it's a tradition actually between the two of us. Every year since I was born, we try to make it to at least one Missouri football game together. And we have done that every year. Last year was the one year where it was really tough to make it to one because of the baseball season in the summer. But we're like, gosh, we have to get back there this year. And so we chose the Mizzou KU game, of course, because I wanted my dad to be able to experience that and the rivalry. And it was so much fun.
That rivalry, and there are a lot of you, by the way, so we won't waste time with it, but you need to look back and research how long, a storied history of that rivalry. It's absolutely amazing. So our lives mirror each other a little bit, obviously by several years, because Hannah's much younger than I am, but I went to Mizzou, did not go to the journalism school. I was actually studying medicine. That's a little trivia question for a lot of you. So people all of a sudden, they are like, oh, well, you must have gone to the J school. And I said, no, I was actually studying medicine. And then as life would have it, I had a massive blood clot that brought me back to St. Louis, and I was taking all of my electives to transfer back to Mizzou, and I took a broadcasting class for the heck of it, and the rest is history. And my life changed, but my entire life changed when I was 19 years old when I was there at Mizzou. So Mizzou always has a big place in my heart. I love it there. Still.
I did not know that. I did not know that you had that health issue. I'm so sorry to hear that, but I'm grateful it brought you to broadcasting.
I am as well, and I love to tell stories as Hanna does. And we're going to get into something incredible, by the way, here in just a little bit of something. If you follow Hanna, you may have seen a post that she had on Instagram that really touched my heart and connects her and I even more so. I knew that the day that I first sat in the sports office, I was like, there's something special between us, and I love this bond. I saw something not too long ago, Hanna, I don't know if it was on Instagram or Facebook, but it talked about how it's important to have friends in all ages. And if we have someone that's younger, they have this youthful energy that they pull out of us. And if it's an older friend, it's the wisdom from them. And I'm like, I agree with that. I have friends that run the gamut from, I think my youngest is probably 33, is one of my best friends. And then I have friends that are in their early 60s. And I feel very well balanced.
I think that's so true. It's accurate. You're supposed to be friends with people of all ages to learn from, and God calls us to it, and I think it's so beneficial.
Well, once again, if you're just tuning in, Hanna Yates. So as I said, you may have known her from her days at Channel 5. Where did you get your start?
I got my start actually in radio, believe it or not. I think you and I talked about this at one point. It was crazy because when I graduated from the University of Missouri, I was looking for jobs all over. And the majority, rightfully so, were in some of the smaller television markets. But when I was offered these positions or interviewing for them, a lot of the pay, I'm like, gosh, I don't know if I could survive and live on that, which is
Exactly.
It's crazy. I think they're the same still to this day from some of the younger girls that I've been talking with who are just entering this industry into the field now. And so I didn't know how I was going to pull it off. And I prayed about it, thought about it for a while of, what does God want me to do? Is it to go to one of these places? It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like that was what I was supposed to be doing at that point in time. And I got a call from Tim McKernan at the time with 590 The Fan, and he was good friends with Jim Reek, one of my University of Missouri School of Journalism professors. And they were like, yeah, she'd been looking at digital work as well. And he's like, well, I have a spot on a radio show and she'd be interested. And so that's how I got my start. I got my start at 590 The Fan doing radio, sports hosting, and it was nothing that I ever expected, but it really laid the groundwork of why I'm so grateful to do what I do today.
Absolutely. Now, have you been back into St. Louis and see they changed 590 around? It's still something to do like really deep within St. Louis. I haven't listened to it yet, but I think it's like within the last month and a half or a couple of months that they've changed it. Did you know that?
Yeah, no, I've kept up with it from afar, but I really haven't been able to get back and visit too much. But I wish everyone nothing but the best.
Absolutely. So I know there's been some changes for that. For a lot of you that are like, yeah, what the heck's happening? I don't really know. You got to research that on your own. Okay, so you go from that. Obviously, as I said, people knew you from Channel 5. So when you were leaving, and I was like, we're losing one of the good ones, but it was happening a lot. And a lot of people were shifting around. It was something that you wanted so bad, though. I geeked out like crazy when I knew that she got this position. I remember writing you going, yes, I'm so proud of you. So talk about when you left Channel 5, and was this really truly just an absolute dream for you?
This was, at that point in time, I think at the very tail end of when I was at KSDK, I had the chance to cover the Blues playoff run one season. And they had many of those after winning the cup. And I was so grateful. And I was out in Denver, Colorado, and I was reporting, I was MMJing solo out there for one of the series. And I was like, gosh, if I ever had the chance to cover hockey full time, that would be such a dream come true moment for me. And I prayed about it a ton, even during that series. And I came back and there were so many things that were happening, and I felt like God was pulling me in many different directions to where I wasn't exactly sure what I was supposed to be doing. Was it to do broadcast and continue in that career? Was it to look in other paths? And I think I had talked to you and actually sought your insight on some of that direction. And out of nowhere, I was presented with the opportunity in Carolina, and I was like, I can't believe, I had no idea that it could even be an option for that organization out there. And so I took the job. Within 2 weeks, had to move out there, having never been. All of my interviews were conducted online. And so it was somewhat of a leap of faith, but I was just so grateful for the opportunity.
Oh my God. I do vividly remember the conversation when and again, you and I say a lot about God, and we'll talk about your faith connection here in just a bit, but it's always scary. It's like, what's going to happen? And hey, I thought this is where I was going to be. I thought this is where I was, being driven. And then all of a sudden something's ripped away and something bigger is coming. And boy, the smile on your face, you are just glowing, my friend. You're a beautiful woman inside and out, first of all, but looking at you, walking in your purpose, doing what is on your heart has just changed a whole new level. Tell me how it's been walking, again, going back to that phrase, walking in your purpose.
Yeah, thank you so much. I feel like it's a day-by-day process for me, to be honest. I'm definitely not living up to where I would like to be all of the time. I think that there's always bumps and bruises along the way in this journey of faith. As you know, there's days that are harder than others. And for me, it's okay. Here's where God has me right now. And life almost comes in seasons and phases is what I've been learning with where I'm at and figuring out just where he wants me to be and trying to live in the moment, live in that walk in everything I do, trying to honor him. And I'm not perfect at that by any stretch of the imagination, constantly trying to grow in that area. But it's just been a gift of so many experiences that he's provided and just being grateful for that and just being willing to answer the call whenever that happens.
I love it. And, a lot of times we have to clear the noise up here and listen for the whispers. And sometimes they become a smack in the face. And then sometimes it's all right, I'm going to punch you in the gut until you wake up.
God closes doors, as I like to say. That's how I've learned the majority of my lessons in life.
Right. And it's interesting because I remember you and I talking. I even talked with a couple other people that we worked with at Channel 5 that was, seeking some advice from me. And I'm like, look, I'm going through the same things. And I still get asked, Hanna, like, why'd you leave Channel 5? And I said, to do what God asked me to do, to bring you hope and inspiration and positivity and keep walking in that path. And I say my prayers every morning, give me the right words, ask me, or tell me, please, what you want me to say to light up this world. And we're going to talk about that faith aspect here in just a second. We're going to take a quick break. Again, we're visiting with Hanna Yates, and we're going to talk, if you follow her on Instagram, and if not, we'll let you know where you can follow her, of what she just is coming off of that truly is just lighting up my soul. That's the thing I wanted you all to hear about. So we'll talk about this incredible opportunity that Hanna had coming up in just a second.
But by the end of this, I want 100% raising your hands. I'm here to empower you because you all have intrinsic value. I don't care if someone has told you that you don't. Today, we are here to make you believe in yourself.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bonacorsi, and I'm the president and founder of J Bloom. And I chose Monica Adams to be our keynote speaker because of the positivity that she illuminates whenever she speaks. She's an amazing influence and has so much impact on these women that they are going to leave changed.
It's a constant education. Never stop being the leader. If you are given the opportunity to be, and I hate the word boss, by the way, don't we like leader more? Have you all seen that image of a boss shouting behind their team and then the leader out in the trenches? And I know there's a lot of people that are thrown into your paths, and there are people who try to squash your dreams. It could be your partner, it could be your parents, your children, a boss that you've had, but you cannot, from this day forward, I'm going to ask you to not give them power any longer. So we think it, we write it, we hear it. Think right here. Make connections today. Then pave that way. You now have the awareness
So how do you pave that path?
Your message, like at the end, you can be anything, but before that, be kind.
Yep.
My husband's a pastor, and that every one of his sermons, that's always within it. That be kind.
Yep.
You have to be kind.
It is.
Oh, you're fine.
Look at this. So there's an employee out there who still thinks of you because you were kind to them. Never stop being that leader. By the way, I want to be remembered for this phrase when I'm no longer on this earth. The greatest rewards in life come from the most uncomfortable walk. God meant for me to talk to you. Oh, it's okay. You, honey, have a lot of value. And someone's told you that you don't. And I was meant to be in your life today. I've always said, I have chills. Do we all have chills? God, I say, if you can have me change one person's life, then I have done your job. I'm hoping it's all of you. But see, she's not okay for whatever reason. I don't know your story, but I'm going to tell you they're wrong. And all these women believe in you.
To hire Monica Adams for your next event, email info@therealmonicaadams.com.
I love how God works through people. All right, I had to air that one so that Hanna would see it. Hanna, it's crazy, that interaction I had with that woman that day, and that it's all those things, right? We hope that when we tell our stories that we impact so many people. But tell me what it feels like for you when you know that someone's come up to you and told you that a story that you did, just that one person, how that affected them. That's just the same way as us feeling like we want to affect millions, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's such interesting perspective. And I know for me, the goal of getting into journalism was to share other people's stories, just because I think there's so many people who come from different backgrounds all over the world, whether it be through sports, news, everyone has a story, but we're all created the same. And so I think no matter where you are in your walk of life, there's a way for people to relate to one another. And I think God works in everyone very individually. And so we can all connect over certain things. And I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to help share other people's stories to do that. And just really special to see how God works in that.
Well, he's worked tremendously through you. I've loved to watch so many stories that you did when I had a chance to work with you, when you went into Carolina. Let's talk about this before we move into what you've done with Asia. So again, if you don't know, FanDuel Sports Network host and reporter. She's walking in her purpose, and we're going to talk about some of the excitement here. All right, so tell us more about that.
So right now, I currently hold the position of host and reporter for the Carolina Hurricanes on FanDuel Sports Network. And so I am employed by the network covering the Carolina Hurricanes primarily. And so I do hosting for the pre and post game show on Hurricanes Live. That was my coworker and co-host Shane Willis. So we are on the desk outside, which is a unique setup because a lot of the desks are in studios now. But in Carolina, our desk is out in the concourse, and you have Caniac Nation, all the fans out there. We call them Caniacs in Carolina for people who are like, what is that in St. Louis who's listening? We call them Caniacs, and they're such a passionate fan base. It reminds me of St. Louis in that way. I feel like I've been super blessed to cover sports in two towns who are so passionate about hockey. Which is sometimes unique. And so that was out there. I also do the rinkside reporting during the games. And so that was the unique atmosphere that you saw outside, though. Never a dull moment. I've had to learn to really dial it in because they get so loud out there, but it's so much fun. It's one of the greatest atmospheres in sports.
Well, and don't you agree? To me, we do what we do because of all of you that watch, all of you that cheer like you're hearing here. We wouldn't have the jobs that we have if it was not for you being there and watching us. And then, of course, we couldn't do what we do without wonderful sponsors. I mean, we get that, but the energy that the crowd gives you and those fans that love you, there's nothing like it.
It's so much fun. I just feel like sports are such a big part of everything in Raleigh, North Carolina, everything in St. Louis, Missouri. It's just so unique when you have fan bases who are so intertwined with the professional sports, and it makes our jobs just a whole lot more fun because there's so much passion poured into it. Everything comes to life.
Do you still have a lot of viewers that knew you from St. Louis that write you regularly and watch?
I will sometimes receive messages, which is super kind of people who are just, I don't know, you know how it is where you build relationships. That's the whole point of this job, is to build relationships. And I do my best to maintain those however I can. And people who have become good friends just that I met through work. And so it's been really special. Obviously, St. Louis will always hold a very dear place in my heart. Obviously, being my hometown, I will always root on the teams from there. So
Yep.
I miss everyone a lot.
Well, I tell you what, next time you're in, we've got to do lunch because I haven't seen you in forever and I need to give you a huge hug.
I would love that.
All right, well, let me switch into this because obviously I'm super proud. I mean, you can feel like a big sister. I'm super, super proud of what she's done, but I could not be more proud than what we're going to move into now. So I happened to catch this on her Instagram, which is how this all came about. And I'm like, Hanna, I'd love for you to come on the show. And I go to her Instagram page and I see this opportunity that she had. And again, it is just 48 hours after the hockey season had ended. You then head, wait for it, everybody, to Asia. Where in the world did this come about? And I have to tell you right now, I am so, so proud of the work that you did by just looking at the pictures. And I can't wait to hear the stories of this because this is absolutely something. I have chills right now and not even hearing the story from you yet. This is absolutely something I would have loved to have jumped on. And I didn't even know this existed. So tell us more.
Well, thank you so much. I was so appreciative of your interest in sharing some of the stories and information on what's happening over there. And gosh, it goes all the way back to 2018. To be honest with you, I was still in St. Louis at that time. I was working at the radio station. So it was prior even to KSDK. And I had the chance through my church at Faith Lutheran in Oakville to go on a trip to Guatemala. And during that time, it was just something short and brief. And I'd always wanted to serve on a mission trip and experience a different country in that way and different people groups and how God's working. And I came across a lot of children. And through different conversations with people, I was learning that there are a lot of children in the area who are being trafficked for sex, for labor, all sorts of human trafficking, and just a lot of darkness. And I felt like God had just, through those conversations and that experience on that trip, really placed something specific on my heart to start working in some of the hard, dark areas that maybe weren't being reached as often. And so I prayed about it for a number of years, with it now being 2025. And so that's 7 years of prayer and trying to figure things out. And at first it was, maybe I'll go on another trip, maybe I'll do something short term. And eventually it was, hey, God might be calling my life to do something very different from what I'm doing right now. And I'm still in a place where I'm continuing to pray about that very transparently. And so I knew I had some time coming up this past summer where I would have time off work. And so I was like, God, use it however you want. If that requires me to do something totally different and start exploring those options, what does that look like? And so I was praying for opportunities to utilize reporting in those ways if he wanted to do so. And I come from a family background where both my grandfathers on each side are U.S. military veterans, one Army, one Air Force. My father was a politician at one point. A lot of the dinner and table talk conversations I had growing up revolved around war and politics and things taking place across the world. And so it had always been a passion of mine. And so you kind of combine that together, and war reporting was placed on my heart. And I was like, gosh, I'm looking into all of these opportunities. Nothing seems to be a fit. I applied to, I don't even know how many organizations and nonprofits in the U.S. Hey, for, anti-human trafficking initiatives or whatever it might be. How can I be used here? And I just kept getting rejected in a lot of ways of, hey, I just don't know if it's a fit, or we don't have anything at this time, or we don't have anything reporting. And it was more difficult than I imagined. Huh. And I reached out to one of my really good friends who I grew up with in Oakville. He currently serves as a Green Beret, United States military. And he was like, hey, one of my friends had come across an organization called Free Burma Rangers. And, people sometimes come across them on deployment. They're in the hard areas. And so I was given a contact of the founder and used my friend as a reference and reached out and just said, hey, I don't know everything about the organization. I had read about what I saw on the website. Do you have an office in the United States? What does this look like? And he got back to me within an hour, which was rare as well, and said, hey, you know what? We don't have an office in the United States, but you're welcome to come out here after you go through the application process, but we're based in Asia. And so I filled out that application, and months later, that was last November, I got accepted in April, and then I just went.
Oh my, this again, if you're just tuning in, Hanna Yates. So we've been talking about her career in journalism, in sports. And then I read, okay, I'm going to go to your Instagram page right now. And I want you all to hear this because again, when you think in life, twists, turns, roller coaster ride of emotions, when I see all this and I see the smiles on her face, and I'm going to show you some more of these pictures from the trip, this is when you know that you're walking in God's purpose for you. So she said, 48 hours after the hockey season ended, I headed to Asia for 2 months for the chance to serve through the reporting. FBR, by the way, a multi-ethnic humanitarian service movement bringing help and hope and love to people in the conflict zones of Burma, Syria, Iraq, Sudan, among others. And then she says, God had placed the desire to help people in dark, hard places years ago. I didn't know what to do with that, so I prayed and was presented with this opportunity to experience war reporting across the world. And she said, he used it to change my life and open my eyes to what's truly happening. And she was shown so many aspects. And you were there for what, 2 months?
I was there for 2 months. I was primarily living in Thailand, where I was working out of an area with other people, and I was just serving. This was solely volunteer based. To where I got to go. They have short-term volunteer opportunities. Long-term, there are people who are full-time missionaries on staff. There's all different types of people who are working together to make this possible and to really just serve the Lord and share the gospel through it. And so this was a service movement that was founded back in 1997. And so they operate in all of these different conflict areas through a multitude of ways, whether it be really training relief teams. So those are some of the ethnic minority people that they're providing help to, and then they're training them to become rangers on these relief teams to go and provide food and love and service and medical care to people and civilians who need it in these war-torn areas. And they also have a reporting department, and that's where I was serving. And so through that opportunity, I did have the chance for a week, some of the pictures you're seeing here, to go inside Burma, which is a country in South Asia, also known as Myanmar. And Thailand borders that, and had the chance to go and hear stories. And so on the left, you can see that's pro-democracy forces. Those are some soldiers who are being trained in Karenni State, Burma, to potentially go to the front lines. And they're being trained by people who had to fight against the Burma military. And these people are being oppressed, and it's just horrific atrocities that are taking place in that country. And on the right, that was in an IDP, an internally displaced persons camp. That's a translator sitting there helping to translate the interview because it was in a different language, obviously, to just hear her story of what took place and the loved ones she lost and why she had to flee from her home, from this danger to come to where she was now. It's happening to thousands of people over there. And I didn't know anything about it, to be completely honest, before I went. I just don't feel like it's a war. It's a civil war that's gone on for 70 years. Yep. And it's just not talked about a lot. And there's so many people who need help and people who don't know who Jesus is. And that's the primary focus. But we can do so by loving them with medical care and humanitarian services and getting the word out. It was just such a unique aspect to journalism that I hadn't seen before, more than just the war reporting. And so it was very, very unique.
See, and that's the thing that I love also. Again, if you're just tuning in, Hanna Yates, as you can see, is my guest. And we're talking about her most recent reporting, broadcasting that truly has just lit her up. And as she said, to be very transparent, maybe taking her in another direction. Again, the thing I love about you, Hanna, so many reasons, I just think you are so precious. But you are so open to being guided by God's hand of where do you want to take me? Okay, you're going to take me here. So a lot of people might hear that. And even your family, when you said you had this opportunity, did anybody say, oh, I'm a little worried about you? What do you mean 2 months? You're going to be gone. Like, do we have contact with you? Are you scared? Are you nervous? What are you going to eat? All those questions I'm sure came up.
Yeah, absolutely. My family was not necessarily on board when they first heard about it. They're like, wait, what are you going to be doing? And at that point in time, I had no clue if I would have the chance to go into these dangerous areas or if I would just staying in more of a safe area, working out of an office and doing reports, which is very equally as important. And so I was kind of like, this could happen, but this is what I'm planning. God might have different plans. I'm not sure what the experience is going to be like there. And they were worried for obvious reasons. I understood why they were feeling that way. But I'm like, if God calls you to something, you have to go. And if he trusts you to it, then you have to trust in him. that he will provide you the protection needed, and to be able to lay down your life for your friend, for your brother, as it calls us to do in the Bible. And I had just a really strong conviction to go and do that. And so by the end of it, my parents were on board, and it was really neat to even share some of the stories from there with them and to see how God was moving in their life as a result. And I think he has such unique ways of doing that, of reaching people and realizing how connected we can be despite being so different across the world.
Well, and that's the thing, we mention all the time about people turning on the news and they hear these things that they don't want to hear about, but we don't want to turn a deaf ear or a blind eye to this is taking place. We're not trying to shove things down your throat and make you feel like all hope is lost, but it is, what is it that we can do? So that's my question I pose to you, Hanna, because this is going on and it is not getting the message that it deserves, but it is existing. And here you are coming back and bringing this to us. How can we help?
I think there's a couple of things that come to mind right off the bat. The first is prayer. It's the easiest way of just praying for people that you don't know, praying for what's happening in this world, praying to God for protection over these people and love, and just that the gospel be shared with them. It breaks my heart often to know how many people groups there are in the world that are not reached, that don't know that Jesus exists. We're so blessed in the United States to have churches on corners, to have the freedom to openly talk about Jesus, which is not the case in the majority of places over in Asia. And so for me, it was such an eye-opening experience to realize how blessed we are to have freedom there. So it's almost just having gratitude and praying to God for other people, and being used in those ways, just being open to the call, but also through education, just educating ourselves on what's happening so that we are aware of what's happening across the world. I had to start doing that because I'm like, gosh, had I known, it changes the way that your outlook on life is. It changes your mentality. It changes the way you pray. And then the third thing is just, if anyone ever feels called financially, if you can't physically go, that's okay. God's not going to call us to all of the same things. That's why all of us are different. We're all designed very specifically for different causes across the world, but we can support each other in those causes. It doesn't mean you have to go. It doesn't mean you have to partake in what's happening, but you can give if you feel called to do so. And so those are some of the main things that come to mind.
And if they want to give, where would they give to?
Yeah, freeburmarangers.org is the website, and you can look and read about so much of what's happening across the world in these war-torn areas, really receive education on what an organization like Free Burma Rangers is doing. And then there's a donation page, and you can donate to any specific cause that you want within how they operate, to a specific region, or just overall. And the money, I can tell you, is dispersed for funds, across people who are injured, to their families, to them. It's never to a specific person. And you can read all about that on the website.
Absolutely. And again, we'll be dropping things in for you. I'll also make sure that I drop it in here for you as well so that you can give, because I know that a lot of you are so unbelievably just kind souls that we always ask. Let me sure I have it right. Is that right? freeburmarangers.org?
Yes.
Right.
You can read up on that. There's more information. I'm sure I butchered the explanation of where money goes to. It's all over, and you can be very specific with that. But it's never something that we try to fundraise for. That's just if God calls people to give. I know it's wonderful work that's being done to share the gospel.
Absolutely. And again, I wish I had known this passion you had for God back in our days, sitting in a sports office, because we would have talked and talked and talked. I have always been faith-based, raised in an incredible house, but it's that spiritual path that I have been walking on. We end every show with a devotional, so I'm going to let Hanna choose which one we end with here in just a second. But again, freeburmarangers.org. Remember that. I would love for you all to help in any way you can. Hanna, before we wrap up, I want you to look back at these pictures of these children and tell me what you most walked away knowing that they wanted you to take back here to the United States and tell about their story.
Gosh, this was at an orphanage, actually, for Hill Tribe children in Thailand. And a lot of these children are neglected and left, without parents or without situations where they can be cared for. And I was just very touched by how God was loving them through the women who are running the orphanage there. But I think through all of this, I can walk into these situations and say, how do these people live with any joy? Like, how is there any joy to be lived with when you feel abandoned, or your families have been killed off, or there's just seemingly no hope in some of the days of their lives? And this is people in every single conflict area that Free Burma Rangers works with. And to see the joy and the hope of the Lord, it showed me that no matter how much darkness is in the world, light can always overcome that. There is nothing that is too hard for God. God already has every plan written. He knows these people. He intricately designed them. And he's never going to lose hope or to give up on anyone. And I think it's so important that we just remember how good he is and how powerful he is, and that we have the blessing of sharing his word and his love across the world as he calls.
You are giving me freezing cold chills. I would have sat and stood and whatever you needed right by you during that entire 2 months. I would have loved to have shared that with you. So you already said it, to be very transparent. Is there something that God's calling you to? What are you feeling lately?
Yeah, I mean, in complete transparency, I'm almost thinking of the answer as I'm talking about it right now, because it's a daily prayer. I mean, each morning and really throughout the day and evenings, I'm having to pray about, God, what do you want to do with my life? I'm currently planning on going into this hockey season and am under contract to do so. And I'm so grateful for that job. It's an absolute blessing. And so I'm looking at it as wherever God has you at that moment in time, how do you share his love? How do you share the stories? If I can't be overseas in Asia, going into these hard places, boots on the ground, then how am I working towards that mission and honoring God through that process here in the United States during that time until, God willing, maybe one day I get to go back? And for me, it's trying to just remain present and listen and be still enough to listen to whatever that call is, and then be ready if he calls me to do something else or to go overseas or do anything at any point in my life. I'm in a place where I'm willing and ready to answer that call.
So not in Asia, but over here. Do you have favorites? Because I know people will ask me, in your 3 decades, Monica, who's your favorite? And for me, it's easy to say. My all-time favorite interview is Reba McEntire, just she and I, backstage on Broadway in New York when she did Annie, Get Your Gun. No brainer. Love that. We'll never, ever, ever forget that. But I covered sports like Hanna for 12 years, so got incredible opportunities. Can you believe I wasn't in St. Louis when the Blues won the Stanley Cup?
That's tough. That is tough.
I was in Nashville at the time and I had to watch it on TV. But some incredible athletes that we've all had a chance to interview, and some icons as well. Tell me about this one.
Gosh, in terms of this interview, this,
Yes.
of course, being Richard Petty, this was the first time that NASCAR came and had that big Series Cup championship that was in St. Louis, and I knew he was going to potentially be there, but I got there, and bless his heart, Frank Cusimano was sick, and so I had to step up to the plate and do some of these interviews in his place, and it was such a blessing to me. I felt so bad that Frank was ill and couldn't be there, but he, of course, is an icon in the racing world, and he was so kind and generous to give me that interview. I was blown away by it, so that was a great memory for me in St. Louis.
Again, we look at all of our blessings and the things that God takes us to. And, that's the thing for all of you that are watching and you're like, oh gosh, I'm just in a dark place right now. With everything you've learned and everything that God's taken you through so far, what kind of message can you leave everybody with right now, Hanna, that feels like, I don't know, I've lost my way with God. I used to have my faith and I've turned away, or maybe I need to lean in on it a little bit more. What message can you give them?
I would say, just through my personal walk, it's never too late for anything. Each day is a new day to restart and turn your life over to the Lord. And I have to do that because there's plenty of days where I am far from perfect. Every second of every day, we're sinning, right? That's how we're all designed. No one's ever going to be perfect, despite what you're seeing on social media or whatever things look like from afar. Everyone struggles with different things, and life becomes a lot easier when we're just transparent about it and we're just open and we can share our experiences with others, because I think it makes us realize how normal we actually all are and that none of us are perfect.
No.
And so for me, it's just continually turning my life over to the Lord, because it's going to have to happen every day over and over.
I love you. I just adore you. I miss you as well, but I'm so excited to be following you. And that is the beauty, right? People can look at the positive and the negative of social media. The beautiful side of it is we get to stay in touch no matter where we are in the world, and we get to see and we lift each other up. And that's the greatest thing that you can do, is to not be jealous. Don't be insecure. Look at what others are doing. Surround yourself with them a little bit more. And if that's more of what you want in your life, then walk that path with them. So I'm going to invite you, when you come back in town, I want you and I to go to a service together and then go to brunch together.
I would love that. That would be a ton of fun. Thank you so much for everything. Obviously, I just respect the world of you and have always admired you close and from afar, your work, but mostly you as a person. So thank you for really just impacting my life.
Absolutely. I thank you. And I said, I'm going to let Hannah choose. So we'll come right back and wrap up the show. So I do at the very end of every show a devotional. When I'm in studio, there are 100 Days to Freedom books from Stephen Arterburn. When I'm at home, it's Jesus Calling. Jesus Says, all those things from Sarah Young. Then we've got some other ones that my viewers have given me, but we're on set today. So I'm going to do 100 Days to Freedom. Okay, ready? Either from fear and anxiety. Okay. There's one from anger. There's one from depression. There's one from shame. Which one are you feeling?
Let's do fear and anxiety.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. So this is what she doesn't know. You're probably all laughing at home going, everyone chooses that. Well, doesn't that speak volumes that this world feels like it has so much anxiety and fear about it? So yeah, we're actually almost to 100 Days to Freedom in those books. The other ones are at about 30. We're at like 90 something with this one. Yep. So we're almost done with that. We almost have to repeat it so can keep hearing the message. But anyway, my friend, thank you so much. I'm so proud of the work that you are doing, and I look forward to seeing what God calls you to next.
Monica, thank you so much. It's been a gift and a blessing to spend this time with you. And of course, we'll keep in touch, and I hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. God bless you. And all of you, don't go anywhere. More of the Real Monica Adams Show to come. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map.
Does it scare you? Go through fear?
Terrifying. We find something to laugh about.
All right, everyone, I'm going to try to see if, in fact, you can see me now. My husband was working remotely trying to fix this silly modem. It's so frustrating because we had so much planned for you this morning. We've got just a few minutes left. I think, yeah, it looks like you're all seeing me okay, which is cool. I got this little funky portrait thing going on, so it's blurring the background. Sorry we didn't get a chance to talk with you and interact early this morning, but I do hope that you're hearing me okay. Let me see. I think, yeah. Yep. All right. So I'm just checking in on my phone since I don't have a producer here. So she was talking about fear and anxiety, right? And that's a lot of what the world is feeling. People are feeling like they can't speak out. People are being canceled. People are getting fired for different comments over the last week. Jimmy Kimmel's show was canceled. Now everybody's talking about that this morning on all of the networks. What do you think about that, by the way? Let's not read from the 100 Days to Freedom book, but let's instead read from Jesus Calling, because I feel that he is calling on us to calm us down and make us not be so fearful in the world, right? What did you think of Hannah's interview, by the way? Loved having her on, and I'm so glad that you all were able to see that. And whatever the problems we had this morning, that they're gone. Seek to please me above all else. Let that goal be your focal point as you go through the day. All right. Let's just calm ourselves down. Such a mindset will protect you from scattering your energy to the winds. The free will I bestowed on you comes with awesome responsibility. Each day presents you with choice after choice. Many of these decisions you ignore and thus make by default. Without a focal point to guide you, well, we can easily lose our way, right? That's why it's so important to stay in communication with me, living in thankful awareness of my presence. You inhabit a fallen, disjointed world where things are constantly unraveling around the edges. Only a vibrant relationship with me can help you from coming unraveled as well. That's from our friend Jesus Calling book from Sarah Young. We needed that. It was very easy to feel that this morning when, here I am trying to talk to you. I was going through talking about Lambert International Airport being very low on a ranking and thought, what do you think about that? I was talking about the police officers that were killed and others that were injured in Pennsylvania. Just some horrible things. I'm not sure if you all heard about that. Feel free to drop some comments in about things that are going on in the world. Also, didn't get a chance to show you what's on tap today. It's National Cheeseburger Day. All right, will you go and eat a cheeseburger? If you will, where are you going for that? It's also Air Force Birthday, National Pawpaw Day, the third Thursday in September, and it is National HIV, AIDS, and Aging Awareness Day. But with regards to cheeseburgers, I'm just going to let you know that there are many deals and discounts at McDonald's and Burger King and you name it. So today's your day. If you love eating cheeseburgers, go out, get yourself a cheeseburger, maybe some French fries, sweet potato fries, whatever it is. Today is your day. All right, speaking of food, tomorrow is Foodie Friday, and my sister-in-law, Tina, is going to join me. We're going to get you ready for Oktoberfest. I was trying to tell you that this morning. Oktoberfest, a lot of the events coming up well before October, by the way, so you can see a big calendar of events. There are way too many to mention. St. Charles is the one I always like to go to, but you tell me, drop in comments if you have been to one that you think we all should go to. So for the next several weekends, all the way into October, for those of you that have been to Germany, that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. My sister-in-law is from Germany, and we're going to make schnitzel. We're going to make red cabbage, or as she called it, blaukraut. We're going to make some potatoes. Washy's Pub, Stephanie says. Is that where you go to get a cheeseburger? I'm not sure what that comment is, but yeah, maybe. So anyway, that's tomorrow. And then we're also going to feature a fitness duo from Disney on Ice, which is super, super cool. Again, obviously the athleticism that they use on the ice, but what do they do to get ready for it? It's not just skating. They do a lot of cross training. So I'm going to get a chance to see a little fitness demo. So we'll drop that in for you tomorrow as well. I do want to let you know about an event coming up that I would love to see you at. We do these mobile Monica. So if you haven't heard, we are going to the Wine Cafe on October 20th. The weather, I hope, is going to be amazing. She has inside and outside seating. This is going to be at 6 p.m. And there's Tiara right there and her husband. We are going to introduce you to them. We're going to sit down. I'm actually going to get a chance to talk to her. She'll be on set with me just a couple of weeks before we go there. But great food on Wednesdays, which that event is on a Wednesday. It's half price bottles of wine. And again, inside seating, outside seating at the Wine Cafe located on Main Street. Look at Adelaide's excited about that, on Main Street in St. Charles. So I'd love to see you there. And by the way, if you want us to bring our show to your business and highlight your business, we can do just that. We have our mobile Monicas all over the place. We are celebrating 2 years since we started our very first Mobile Monica, and we've been to festivals, we've been to boutiques, we've been to coffee houses, we've been to restaurants, you name it. We've been on the road in Fredericksburg, Texas. That's right, we can take the show on the road. We did 11 shows featuring businesses in Fredericksburg to build up their tourism. So you let us know, where would you like us to go there, or if you have a particular topic or a guest that you would like for us to feature on an upcoming show, let me know that as well. I am going to not be doing shows during my anniversary week. My husband and I are going to spend some time in Cabo San Lucas. While we're there, I will film some stuff. I might do some little quick snippets, maybe from the marina or from different areas where we go, just to check in on everybody, but not full-blown shows like I've done before. I promised him that I would not do that. So yes, we do need to break away. We've got to have the balance of life. We've got to take care of our hearts, take care of those that we love, be there for each other. Again, that's really important, I think, now more than ever. Community is the number one word that I've been seeing in my brain when I wake up in the morning and when I go to bed at night, that we've got to be there for each other. We have to do the thing that we always talk about, which is, again, spreading more kindness, because we're in a world where it's very easily to try to let hate take over, but it's all up to each and every one of us to not allow that to happen. So yes, you are reading or seeing things on your social media feed. You're seeing things in the news. No matter what channel you're on, it's the agenda that they want you to hear. So you have to decipher through all of that and just stay kind. I ran into a young couple that I saw at church last weekend at the gym at Crunch Fitness the other, and reached out to them. He asked me for my phone number right away, and it's just really cool that here's these young, maybe 20 something, if they're even that said, hey, I'd love to go to church together. I'd love to talk more at church. So that's me. I didn't know him. Now we're connected. So let's get connected, change the world together. I love you all. I hope you have a beautiful day. Again, gorgeous weather right now. It's going to be in the low 90s a little bit later, though. So make sure that you get out now if you can, because this is what's on tap for you. 93 degrees, maybe some west. So right now, it's absolutely beautiful. And take care of yourself. God bless you all. And remember, the way we change the world is